Hello and welcome to pmslounge.com. In this video, we are talking about the delivery performance domain. And as always, if you want to go over an article on this topic, check out the link in the description below. The first link and the second link is going to be the playlist of all the performance domains that we have discussed on this channel. So without further ado, let's take a look at the agenda for this video. We will talk about an introduction to this performance domain, some of the desired outcomes, key definitions, and then the major stuff related to this performance domain, what it talks about, how does this performance domain interact with other performance domains, how do you check results if you are working on this domain correctly or not, and how is it yielding results for you, and some key takeaways to end the video. So let's get started with the introduction to delivery performance domain. Now, delivery ensures that the project meets scope and quality expectations, both of these things, right? Scope as well as the expectations around quality. Now, delivery is all about producing what the project promised. It could be a new website, it could be a new service, it could be a new product, it could be some sort of improvement, right? For our e-commerce website example that we have been running through for all the performance domains, this means making sure the website has the agreed features like product catalog, shopping cart, secure checkout, while also meeting performance and usability standards. This could mean, lesser loading time, better or faster loading time, faster checkouts, good type of user experience. It should be easy for users to navigate and search for products, stuff like these. Now, project delivery supports business objectives as well as strategy. So it supports both of these things. Projects are not just about outputs. They are not just about the product of the project, the end result of the project, right? They are also about the outcomes. This website that we talk about in all our videos, an e-commerce website example, right? This is not valuable just because it exists, but because it supports some business objective and it increases online sales. That could be the business objective. It reaches more customers. That could be a business objective, right? So project delivery, it supports both your business objectives as well as the strategy that the organization has. So this is why delivery is so important. Now, what are the desired outcomes of the delivery performance domain? Projects contribute to business objectives. In our e-commerce website example, it is not just about the technical building of the website, development of the website, right? This website helps the company grow revenue, and it also helps company compete in a digital space with its competitors. Projects realize intended outcomes. So it's not enough to just launch a website and be done with it. The intended outcome could be to increase sales, let's say by 25% within 1 year. Delivery ensures the project actually moves the business towards that outcome. So delivery is the thing or the performance domain that actually moves the needle, right? Benefits are achieved on time. If the website launches 6 months late, the company might miss out on, let's say, some holiday shopping season. So timely delivery ensures that planned benefits are realized when they are most valuable. So if you launch an e-commerce website in January, you have just missed the December November holiday season, which means you have missed some benefit that could have been realized if you were able to launch the website earlier. Requirements are clearly understood. As an example, the marketing team needs analytics to track campaigns. Delivery ensures that such requirements are captured and built into the final system so that the website itself generates analytics for the marketing team. Stakeholders accept deliverables. Now, ultimately, the website must be accepted by the customers, the stakeholders or the sponsors who have put in the money for this project, right? So whoever the business owner is, whoever the internal teams are, they all need to accept the website once it is done. Acceptance shows that delivery was successful. If nobody accepts the website or they have more requirements, then you have more work to do, right? Delivery ends when acceptance happens. All right, let's talk about key definitions. What is a requirement? A condition that satisfies a business need. As simple as that. For our e-commerce website, a requirement could be customers must be able to pay using credit cards and digital wallets. That could be a requirement, as simple as that. Work breakdown structure, WBS. We have an entire playlist on WBS. I'll share that playlist link in the description below if you want to know more about it. But it is the hierarchical scope decomposition. The WBS helps break the website into modules like homepage, catalog, cart, payments, backend integration, right? So these are the different modules of the website. Definition of done. Criteria for deliverable acceptance. So whenever your deliverable is done, what is the criteria that needs to be fulfilled for the deliverable to be accepted by the stakeholders, right? As an example, the product search feature in our e-commerce website example, this feature will be done only when it returns accurate results and it loads, let's say, within 2 seconds and it passes user testing. Only then this feature can be marked as complete. So that is definition of done. Quality, meeting agreed requirements. If the checkout fails during peak load, quality is not achieved even if the feature exists. So quality is that important. Cost of quality is basically cost of conformance and non-conformance. Investing in testing early prevents expensive fixes later, like refunding customers due to payment failures, right? In fact, we have a video on cost of conformance and non-conformance, which makes up the cost of quality. I'll share that video link in the description below as well. All right, so let's talk about delivery of value. Now, value can be delivered incrementally or at the end. I hope you are able to see the shades of agile and predictive or waterfall ways of delivery here. In our project, the e-commerce website, we could first launch just the product catalog and later add other features like wish list and the ability to share the products with friends and family and whatnot. Now, business case defines expected benefits. The business case might project that online sales will generate an extra $1 million per year. The delivery of value, right? This ensures that the project work stays aligned with this expectation, with the expectation to increase sales by $1 million per year, right? So what all you need to do to be able to do that, that's something that delivery needs to stay aligned with. Value often continues even after project closure. Once the website goes live, you can say that your project is actually over. But then there are improvements like, let's say, better search or personalized recommendations. All of these continue to add value over time. So then you will have iterations, then you will have, smaller projects or maybe agile way of delivery where you continue to deliver value even after your initial project of developing a website and making it live is over. Okay, let's talk about deliverables and requirements. Now, deliverables enable outcomes. What does this mean? The e-commerce website itself is just a deliverable, but that is not the outcome. Outcome is increased sales. Outcome is increased customer reach. So that is the outcome. Deliverables are going to enable these outcomes. Now, without the deliverable, the outcome can obviously not be achieved. Requirements can be elicited, evolved, or even discovered. This is very important for you as a project manager to understand. Some requirements, like let's say support multiple currencies, they may come from upfront discussions, But then there could be other requirements like, enable guest checkouts. People do not need to be logged in on your website to make orders. You should have guest checkout feature. This is something which might be discovered later, or this could just come as a customer feedback during user acceptance testing. Requirements must be documented and managed because poorly managed requirements often lead to scope creep. So, having a product backlog or maybe a requirements register or a requirements document or a specifications document, it ensures that changes are tracked and approved, and your scope of the project does not go haywire everywhere, right? So that's something which is very important. I hope you found this slide very helpful because it talks about two of the most important aspects of delivery: deliverables and requirements, and also make sure that deliverables enable outcomes. Deliverables are not outcomes. With that, I would like to remind you about our PM 101, a free 1.5 hours training video. This training video is an absolute legend. It is by far the highest viewed project management basics training video on YouTube. Check out the link in the description below when you are done watching our ongoing session. All right, so here's where we are. We have covered 5 topics within the delivery domain. So let's go ahead and talk about scope definition. Now, scope definition is where you define scope, right? How do you define scope? So scope is the sum of products, services, and results that your project aims to achieve or aims to deliver. For our e-commerce website, this includes, catalog payments, shipping, integration with inventory, and whatnot. Together, all of these define the scope of the project. Scope can be decomposed using the work breakdown structure or even agile techniques. In a predictive approach like the waterfall model, we might use a work breakdown structure to break scope into smaller work packages. But in agile, if you are using, let's say, Scrum, we may use epics, features, and user stories to structure the work that we are doing. Completion criteria define when deliverables are done. As an example, the checkout module is complete only when it passes testing across all browsers, integrates with the payment gateway, and is approved by the stakeholders. So that's the completion criteria. Okay, let's talk about moving targets of a completion. Now, deliverables may face changing requirements. This is the biggest headache I would say a project manager might have. As an example, if competitors suddenly add same day delivery, our website may need to adjust scope to stay competitive. You might have to involve vendors that enable same day delivery and might have to make changes on the website that basically features same day delivery and ensures that the customers are aware of the fact that we offer same day delivery. Done drift occurs in uncertain environments. Now, if the project takes too long, features that were planned as innovative may actually feel outdated. So this moving target means that your done can keep shifting as well. So done drift occurs in uncertain environments. Scope creep must be controlled at all times. If marketing requests extra features without adjusting the budget of the project or the schedule of the project is risking a failure here. So a formal change control process should be in place because it is going to prevent uncontrolled expansion. Now, a lot of people tend to think that in agile ways of working, there's no change control. The comprehensive change control exists only in the waterfall model. But that is not the case. In fact, I'll share a link to the entire playlist of change management in the description below if you want to know more about change management. But the fact of the matter is, even in agile, if you receive a new requirement or a change in the requirement, you put it in the product backlog. And then your backlog is basically strategized over, thought over, and your backlog is refined. So it means that this change wasn't just accepted by the team as is. Your backlog was refined and it was, given the weight, it was given the priority, and based on that, the change gets executed. So there is change management required even in agile environment as well. Quality in delivery. So quality ensures deliverables meet expectations. For example, customers expect secure payment and fast response times. This is quality. Delivery must meet these expectations, not just the functional scope that you have added secure payment feature, you have added, response time to be fast, but you have to meet the expectations. Now, it is possible that you might want to define what fast means so that everybody agrees that, 0.10 seconds is what fast really means when it comes to page load times, something like this, right? So, everything should be defined. Quality is influenced by organizational policies and processes as well. If the organization has strict security policies, the website must include additional checks like encryption audits, maybe, just to ensure that we are in line with what our organizational policy really is. Quality must be balanced with cost also. So if you add multiple rounds of user testing, it may improve quality, but it is going to increase the cost of the project. So there needs to be a balance between the two, and that depends on the priorities of the project. Now let's talk about cost of quality and cost of change. So cost of quality, it includes prevention, appraisal, internal failure, and external failure. As an example, if you want to train developers so that issues don't occur, or your quality is up to the mark, that is prevention. You are training developers, you are being proactive. Now this is actually cheaper than handling customer complaints later on, which is an external failure. So that was the example of prevention and external failure. Cost of change is going to increase as the project progresses. If you are fixing a checkout bug during your design phase, it is very cheap to do so. But if you're fixing it after the launch of your website, then it means that you might have to issue refunds, you might have to go through penalties, there's always a loss of reputation and whatnot. So cost of change is going to increase as the project progresses. Building in quality early reduces risks and costs. So what this means is you should have quality checks during development, and that is going to ensure fewer issues later, at least after you are live already. For our project, if you can do frequent testing, it is going to save money compared to doing fixes later. Now, this is a diagram that I really wanted to share. It talks about the cost of change and then it talks about the actual cost. And you can see it's much easier to fix or make changes when you are in the requirements phase. But if you are in production, the cost of change is 150x. So this is something that you should be aware of. This basically shows how fixing bugs or making changes earlier is much cheaper than as project progresses and during the later phases of the project. Okay, suboptimal outcomes. Now, some projects fail to achieve intended outcomes. Even if your website launches, if the customers do not use it, the outcome is actually not achieved. You made a great website, but it is not intuitive enough for the customers to use it. So they are not going to use it. That means the intended outcomes were not achieved. Market shifts can lead to missed opportunities also. So if your competitor launches a better platform and they do it before you, your project's impact is going to be reduced. Effective management minimizes negative outcomes. By monitoring trends and stakeholder needs, we reduce the chances of wasted effort. As an example, if you add mobile first design on your e-commerce website early, it can prevent failure later. And we saw this with so many websites out there which were designed for desktops. But with mobile phones becoming popular, everyone had to adopt to a mobile first designed, right? So this is something which is part of the outcome of the project. Now, I would also like to remind you about our playlist section. Head over to youtube.com/PMC Lounge/playlist if you're preparing for your PMP exam. This is an absolute gold. Everything is absolutely free. Do check it out. Okay, so we've completed 10 topics. Let's talk about the interactions of this performance domain with other project performance domains. Delivery builds on planning. The scope and requirement defined in the planning domain guides the delivery work. So there's your relationship between delivery and the planning performance domain, right? So this is something that is pretty obvious, right? Whatever that you have planned is what you're going to be working on in delivery. Delivery cadence depends on the development approach as well. This is also one of the domains. So if we use agile, delivery happens in sprints regularly. But if we are using predictive development approach, then delivery happens at the end. Delivery is enabled by the actual project work. You've got the processes, the resources, the procurements, everything from the project work performance domain make your delivery possible, make this domain possible. Okay, checking results. How do you check results here? Outcomes are compared against the expected benefits. As an example, did the website actually improve sales that it projected, or it did not do so? Deliverables are validated for quality as well as acceptance. So this includes your testing, testing the website with users and ensuring that all criteria, the acceptance criteria, are being met. Value delivered is also measured. Metrics like conversion rates, uptime, and customer satisfaction confirm that value has been delivered. So, some key takeaways from this performance domain. Delivery ensures scope, quality, and outcomes are met. The ultimate measure of success of your project is whether the project achieved what it set out to do, right? And that is something that delivery ensures. Clear requirements and scope control are absolutely critical. Without managing scope and requirements, projects drift into confusion and ultimately failure. Quality should be built in, not tested in. I really like this, right? So quality should actually be a habit. It should be built in. It should not be added in the project just because of testing, right? It should be built in. The project environment should be such that people are encouraged, your project team is encouraged to build in quality into what they are working on. Okay, finally, timely delivery maximizes business value. If you have timely delivery, that is, you deliver on time, as we talked about in the example of the holiday season, if your website is ready and is delivered in October, you will be able to make use of the holiday season, right? And you will ensure that benefits are captured when needed. So timely delivery is always going to maximize business value. A quick reminder about VIP Pass, which is our YouTube membership program. You get access to premium project management courses, collaboration opportunities. You can meet me virtually for consultation as needed. Just hit the join button. A lot of bang for your buck. And that's actually all that we had in this video. I hope you got value out of it and were able to understand this performance domain. Keep learning. Check out our other videos. Definitely consider subscribing for more project management content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.